Okay, awesome. It is 7 o'clock, and I am calling this meeting of the Community Housing Board to order. Um, the first item on the agenda is to review the minutes. And Bill, I believe you had some notes. Is that correct?
The minutes are not correct at the end.
Okay.
The board, it said the board reconvened the public meeting at 7:35. We in fact did not reconvene the meeting. What we did is amongst ourselves, made a motion, and I made it slightly different than what's actually in the minutes. And I did send that over, and I don't know, Coco, if that's for you or for Jessica to make that change prospectively.
She'll make it if you do the motion again.
Yeah, and well, I'm going to make the motion again tonight.
Yeah.
So, but I would approve the minutes with, I would submit that we make a motion to approve the minutes with the, with that modification that we did not reconvene, and we will change the wording of the motion to reflect the motion that is going to be made this evening.
Second that.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye. Cool. All right. Excellent. And thank you to Bill for catching that and sending those notes to keep us on track. And to that, since it was I think it was Community Housing Board's first ever executive session, so that was kind of exciting. And so it turns out we did not reconvene. And so we felt that it's important that we make the motion that we need to make here at our truly convened public and on video meeting. So Bill, I know we had worked out the.
Yeah.
Do you want to kind of start with that? I don't have it right.
Yeah, I'll make a slight preamble towards it. I mean, it's great because this is, to make sure that there is full transparency to the public. We were in executive session last time reviewing the qualifications of the bidder that submitted a response to the RFQ. In that executive session, we exercise full due diligence. There is a scoring methodology that was in the RFQ that was made public. We went through that scoring methodology. At the end of doing that scoring, we all came to the conclusion that the bidders were highly qualified. The respondent was extremely qualified and appropriate for us. And so we've had a finding that they met the initial standard, which is qualification. So I had a motion here that the Community Housing Board has considered and reviewed in detail the submission in response to the request for qualifications, RFQ, from Community Development Long Island and Urban Builders, the respondents, and after such consideration and review, have found their qualifications meet the qualifications set forth in the RFQ. The Community Housing Board desires to move the process forward to the next steps and notify the respondents of our actions, and thereafter commence the process to create a letter of intent understanding. That is the motion.
Excellent.
We have to do it tonight.
Yeah.
Would that be considered the same as a memorandum of understanding?
Yes, yeah, letter of intent, memo of understanding. Yeah, and we can get into what that is in a process too
I would say, just to eliminate any ambiguity, is not to refer to this as a letter of intent with the intent to work towards a letter of intent.
Right.
They're distinctly different phases and probably should be named accordingly.
Espen, just to understand, I think, are you suggesting that we change the motion to just kind of update that wording, or what do you think what are you thinking here?
Just to reference the naming of this document, perhaps memorandum of understanding, because it is an understanding that we're all coming to. And
Just to repeat the actual language, and I have no problem with referencing it as an MLU, it says to commence the process, because that's really what we're doing, to create a memo of understanding or letter of intent. I don't care what we call it at the end of the day.
what I'm envisioning is this is a memorandum of understanding to work towards developing a letter of intent.
I think we can revisit that letter. I would disagree with that, but that's not a,
Okay.
yeah.
Let's just call it an MOU because that's what we've been calling it.
That's what we can call, I agree with you, Meg.
We need a
So,
second? I'll
Yeah,
second.
because well, hold on. I just want
Oh.
to just say, so are we, just before are we going to leave it, are we going to change the language of the motion to say MOU rather than letter of intent? I just want to make sure I'm super clear on what we're voting on, just because I'm truly okay with either. I think that they both reflect our intentions here. But
Since I think Meg is correct. It's now being referred to as an MOU. So in the motion, we might as well have it as an MOU.
okay, cool. I just want to be like, so does that feel appropriate for everybody here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Excellent.
Our
Somebody feel like-
vote?
I know. Sure.
Second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you so much. And a big thank you to Bill for making sure that we are straight on process. So
Coco, I'll make sure you have,
Great.
and Jessica have the language.
Great.
excellent. Okay, cool. So let's move on to the next item, which is the fund update. Let's see here. I can't remember. Did I give I don't think I gave the July number. Anyway, I had the July numbers. So we had contributions just shy of 29,000, plus about $4,000 in interest, bringing us to 1.2 million in our fund right now. So that's the latest there.
Liz, for the next update, I did a calculation of what's in contract to sell.
Ooh. I always love these, Peter. So tell us what we got. Tell us what's coming.
In contract on the island, there are 9 homes totaling
Okay.
just over 34 million.
Oh my goodness.
So if you take a look, that's asking prices.
Okay.
So take 10% away from that. So another 154,000 should be coming due. Not next month. I'm saying this is going to be staggered, but this is what's in the works coming in.
Pipeline.
Yes. There's a big one out there about to close, so.
All right. Cool. Well, that's great to know that's coming down the pipeline. Thanks, Peter. Okie doke. So let's move on to the ADU +1 program update. The first little subsection I have here is office hours. So Casey from CDLI has been coming out at the library and doing office hours every 2 Tuesdays a month. So he is going to be back out this next Tuesday. They had a great turnout the last time that they were out, and actually had a couple new applications out of it. So I was really pleased to hear that. They were also really pleased to see the turnout. I had gone to the congregate lunch and talked a few weeks, spoken to folks a couple weeks ago. So we did have some folks come in and just have some questions to ask on that. So really, really pleased. Also really excited to get some new applications. This isn't part of office hours, but I did kind of want to bring up that we are going to be doing a table at the Green Expo. And I know Bran is able to be there. I'm going to be there for part of it. I have some fire auxiliary stuff, so I might be bopping back and forth. I know, Bill, I had asked, but I would
Yeah,
ask you.
I can be there in the early afternoon.
Awesome, cool. Then I just thought of anybody else, everyone is welcome. Casey is going to be there from CDLI just to give specifics on the program. But just thought we had a great response last year, so just wanted to get out there again.
This is the same day as the
Craft fair.
Craft fair.
Saturday,
The
the
craft fair.
23rd.
And the same day as like the country fair, like literally it's the same day as everything. So the whole town ought to be
Country
out.
Fair's happening.
yes.
Back.
Oh,
Yeah.
You can do that.
Yeah.
Big news.
I know. It's
Saturday the 23rd, 1 to 3. Think.
yeah, it's
Or
gonna
11 to
be
3. 11:30. There you go.
yeah, and like the country, yeah, it's gonna be a busy day. Everybody get a full night of sleep beforehand because all right. So the other thing I just wanted to bring up is technically our first round for the ADUs is closing in September. To be fully transparent, I've talked with Mark and Peter. I think you've been on some of the calls where we've been talking about it. It's not 100% clear whether the state of New York will extend again. So it's a little bit up in the air. So that's why we've really been trying to get out to folks and just try to get anybody who is interested and thinks that this would be a good fit to get their kind of applications in, just so that we can make sure that we have that those grant dollars set aside for them. But again, there's a little bit of a question mark whether there'll be an extension with that. So that's kind of all the things we know. We do have like the 2 rounds because we do have 2 rounds of money that we have as Shelter Island. To that deadline, I just wanted to address in public. There was, I think you guys also, you might have seen all the emails coming back and forth. There's a little bit of confusion with some letters that were sent out. So on one of the calls, I think it might have been just Peter and I, Mark, I can't remember if you were on that one, with CDLI, we had talked about just sending a reminder out to folks that were mid-application process, just to let them know that the round was closing in September, and just, encourage them if they wanted to complete that and move forward, that there was a timeline that the state of New York had made us aware of. Unfortunately, one of the admins over at CDLI did send out an email that caused some alarm, and that unfortunately was not proofed by the rest of the program. So I was made aware of that probably hours after it went out. Thank you to Julie Lee Lane, who gave me a call. And I was able to reach out to CDLI, who sent out a clarifying letter to all of the folks that had received the first letter. So I'm happy to answer any questions around it. They were great at kind of getting to everybody and kind of clearing that up. It was unfortunately an administrative kind of situation. But so that was kind of, I wanted to just kind of address that. Did anybody have any, I don't know if any questions? I think I sent both, or the revised letter around. So if anybody hadn't seen it or wants to see it or lost it in their inbox, I'm happy to forward it to you. But they were on it and kind of got that right back out. Okay, so Peter, I'm going to do an update from our last CDLI meeting. And so you tell me if I just reviewed my notes. So right now we have 16 approved. We do have 3 that are finished, another 3 that are in contract. And so what we're really looking to do is, as best we can for those folks that it's appropriate for, is to get those grant agreements signed so that we do know that their grant dollars are set aside. So I know CDLI is working hard. I know I've answered, tried to expedite some questions that have come up. And that's the other reason that they are doing those office hours here, just to kind of be around, so that there's not like a lag in communication that might prevent folks from getting what they need. So that's where we are with that. Again, there is another open, oh my goodness. There's another office hours next week, and we do have Peter Mark. We have another just update call with CDLI next Wednesday. Our hope is that if there's any like little last minute items that we might be able to expedite for anybody trying to make that September deadline, that we'll be able to step in and do it at that point. Cool. Is there does anybody have anything else about ADU before we move on to the next item?
No.
Okay, great. All right. So the next item is we want to kind of talk about, having made the motion, talk about getting an MOU together to kind of get the Community Housing Board and Town Board on the same page so that we can kind of get that over to our prospective partners. It looks like we do have a meeting on the books as of today for next week. So I'm excited to report that. I know the town council and our council will be able to be there. It is, just checking my Thursday. Thank you. Thursday at 3. So that will be great. It's been really just to kind of let everybody, just to recap where we are in the process. Our lawyer sent out a very rough initial draft. I've gotten some notes. Espen, looking at you, who got them in super early. Thank you so much. And Bill, appreciate that. I have received some notes from other folks. I know the town board's kind of having their own process with it. And there's some other notes there. So I'm excited that we can finally kind of sit down with both lawyers and get this document close to something that we can kind of get back to our prospective partners and hopefully be able to get this moved forward. I did have one question for our town board liaisons, just as a process question. I know that we are looking at a change in, that there's like a change in the town council, and that our previous contract, I might be saying these terms wrong, so please forgive me. Our previous contract attorney, Steve Leventhal, is going to be working with the town board on this particular meeting. And I did just want to check in and just for my understanding, will he be working with the town board through the whole MOU process, or?
Yes.
That is the plan.
Yeah, so we're gonna keep him on for the whole process because he was kind of here for the beginning of it.
Okay,
And
great.
the new lawyers have a lot of other things to get caught up on and up to speed, so we figured it was best if Steve stuck with this issue.
Awesome, cool. I just wanted to make sure that I was understanding that. I did want to also put out, I'm really excited that we were able to finally get this meeting on the books. I know, I'm curious. I just wanted to put out there, we don't even have to answer this at this point. I definitely know that there's been some questions raised around, it sounds like they're probably going to need to do some pretty significant revision. Totally cool. But, I wonder, I just kind of wanted to kind of put out there, should we potentially set up a second meeting with everyone, because I know that the scheduling has been really challenging, and I know that Steve Leventhal's schedule is really tight. So I just kind of wanted to put that out to our liaisons for kind of thinking about, because it sounds like this will certainly need to be redrafted, and it sounds like I would assume that draft would need to be revisited. So I was wondering if we should just kind of put a time down now, or like I said, I know the scheduling of this has been really challenging. So I just wanted to see if we could maybe how could we make the next round go as smoothly as possible? So just for your thoughts.
I think it's hard to schedule without knowing how long it's gonna take to do the edits.
Okay.
We wanna make sure the draft is done and then people have time to read it. So, we could tentatively try to schedule something for maybe 2 weeks after or a week after. I don't know how long you think it'll take Miriam to do her edits, but we can sort it out offline.
Okay. Yeah. And I guess I would also just say, do we have a sense of what we feel like as a group, as this group, what our goal would be to try to, obviously it would just be our internal guideline of what we're working towards, to try to get that MOU into a state that we could share with our prospective partners. Do you guys have, I don't know if you had like a vision of kind of what you thought would be plausible, for understanding.
I guess what question I would have is how big would the group need to be? I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I know that some of the concerns about the MOU currently are at a very high legal level.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it would take a smaller meeting of the minds at a much higher level to really sort out the overall document. And then we can start going through the content, like I already made some comments. I have a few more, but maybe it's just a smaller group. I don't think necessarily we don't need to.
I agree. Smaller group.
I agree.
And then it would be easier to schedule.
Let the professional people that know best to do that.
I would recommend all of you getting your notes and comments together, sending them to one person. So maybe Liz would be that person who then all those
I'm happy
notes
to
in the smaller meeting. And then the smaller meeting of the minds will sort it out and take all those notes into consideration.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the most efficient. Fewer cooks usually leads to better cooking. Yeah, true.
One thought, and I could be wrong on this, I would agree with Liz that it'd be good to schedule a second meeting, because I think the first meeting is going to be primarily conceptual in terms of how to structure the MOU. And what you were referring to, getting into a lot of legal stuff in terms of how MOUs actually work. And the second meeting would be more towards what you were thinking, Espen, that there would, some of the actual concrete substance. And some of that we may want CDCLI, or the total respondents to come back with, because it's in some ways part of their proposal, because the RFQ wasn't their proposal. So just, in my nerdy process mind.
No, I love it. And I guess I just wanted to, I know there'd been some misunderstandings or confusion. So I thought it would just be great to kind of just like put it out there, just make sure that we're all on the same page. So I'm just going to repeat back what I hear of just like kind of how you're conceptualizing this, Bill, which is that we'd have like a smaller meeting, the one we have scheduled next Thursday. Anybody who can make it, who have thoughts and feelings, we're going to be there kind of talking at a higher level, a higher legal level, as you've outlined, Espen, and just kind of maybe reformatting or kind of just really thinking about how this is structured. Awesome. And then the next step would be is Miriam would come back with edits. And then I guess my question would be, there's kind of a couple different things that I'm seeing, and I just wanted to kind of talk to this board and to our liaisons here about So Miriam comes back with the edits, right? Like we agree on a high level, okay, this is what we're looking for. She comes back with the edits. At that point, are we going to, as a community housing board plus town board, kind of give edits before we bring in our prospective partners? I'm just trying to think like what's like the order of operations. So
It seems like we might want to have what we're all comfortable with before presenting it to them, because they would then want to respond and perhaps make changes. I can't imagine them just saying, okay, here we go. They might want to.
The only thing to that, though, that I could see is that there may be questions that you want to have some iterative interaction with the CDLI or urban builders. I don't think the rest of them are as important.
Right.
Those two components of the respondents are the real, they're the real respondents. And they may be necessary to come in and, just speak to how they're conceptualizing things too.
Yeah.
well, Bill, I think
We should have our meeting
I think that's
first.
your point, though, is let's satisfy ourselves
Self
first.
first, yes.
And then, say, okay, here's what we're thinking. This isn't the final draft. This is a collaborative
Yeah,
process here.
and ask them questions.
Yeah.
yeah, I think that they were definitely, I can't imagine a world in which we hand them like, this is it, like it would definitely be handing them a draft. I think that, let's kind of think about this. So we need to get all of us, as as you said, Espen, like having all of us satisfied. So because, this does also involve the town board, I would just, ask our liaisons here for what their viewpoint would be on what they think the process, let's say after we've had our meeting on Thursday, Miriam has brought us back her edits. What is, Megan, Ben, what is your point of view on how those next steps would go?
Once we get the edits back from Miriam after next Thursday meeting with Stephen and Miriam and whoever else wants to come, I think we should all sit down and, we all need to come and read it, then all sit down and compare and contrast our individual edits there. See what's left.
Where are we in involving the public in this? I mean, this was brought up in the last meeting, I guess 2 work sessions ago. And there was a lot said about, we need to get the town, the public notified and involved in the process. Is that standard? Does the town get the public involved in an MOU?
No.
Okay, so are we?
But when it's
leaving it behind?
finalized, it'll be published.
Right, yes. So we don't need to have a town meeting and get everybody here to talk
It
about
never
how
got
we're
done.
Well, I know, that's my point. I'm trying to get somebody to say that but yes, okay.
Nascent stuff.
So we are past that. We don't need to worry about, okay. So yes, that's all I wanted to hear.
What we should all is that, the MOU is being worked on.
Yeah.
And when we have internal agreement on what it is, it'll be posted on the website and shared with the public.
Yeah.
Again, I'm sorry, my process person.
That's why you're here, Bill.
From a process perspective, and I know this was in one of my emails, the MOU is actually effectively the town board making a selection that these are the people we want to move forward with, but that doesn't make an agreement with them. It means that we will now go into good faith negotiations on some very complex contractual documents, because there's the development contract, there's the management contract, there's the lease contract. There are, and that it's not final until all of those are agreed to and signed off by everybody.
Right.
And during that process, I don't know for sure, but would you have a public hearing on those contracts or not? I don't know.
I think we have to.
Okay, that I didn't know, but the other parts,
Certainly an MOU is not worthy of
Yeah.
Well, it should be transparent. It should be out there.
Transparent, but, you know, we don't wait till we get 30% of the island to show up and, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
I did have just a quick question, which is just, Ben, this one's for you. So, thinking about it, so, you know, so we all getting together. So I would imagine that what you meant by that is potentially the whole town board and the community housing board. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, great. I just wanted to make sure.
Once the document's redrafted, it's gonna be a new document. So we need everybody's new fresh eyes on it.
Yep.
Awesome. And at that meeting, just because I do think it would be great to have, obviously, I know folks have lives and commitments and things that they're doing. You know, I guess this is one of my questions around, I wonder if we should potentially throw out maybe even an internal date just to make sure that everybody would maybe be available 2 weeks or something after that. Does that seem plausible, reasonable? Do you feel like you want to wait until we have the redraft? What feels,
I think we should get to the redraft only because we don't know when we're gonna have the redraft.
Yeah, I agree.
And then we're at the end of the summer, so we have Labor Day upon us.
It would be first week of September is what you're gonna.
Second,
okay.
Probably second.
Best.
Yeah.
I'm not around for 2 weeks.
Oh,
So.
Okay.
okay. People think about it. Pros and cons.
Yeah.
First or second week of September.
And
I think we'll have a better sense of how long it'll take after next Thursday's meeting. Because as we go through the concepts that have to be looked at, you know, in terms of what would be in the MOU, I think we will have a better sense of how quickly it could be turned around.
Right.
No, exactly. I mean, we gotta see what we all agree on Thursday. I mean, if there's a massive disagreement on what the document should look and say, then it's gonna take longer. If everybody's on the same page, pretty much, it'll take a lot less time.
Right.
Just a question. And this is one for Meg and Ben, this is one for you. So I know that we've talked about having Steve Leventhal work on this MOU, but for the additional contracts, is it correct to assume that the new town council would be working on them?
We don't know. Yeah, we haven't figured that out yet. Right now, we're just trying to cross this first hurdle because it was fairly high. And we figured that Steve Leventhal was the best person to help us get over that hurdle. And let's clear it, and then we'll see what makes the most sense for the town. Like I said, the new attorneys that are coming on board have got a lot to catch up on. And we don't want that to slow this down, which is why we wanted Steve to stick with us. And once we clear the next hurdle, we'll have that same analysis look again. And it may be, let's keep Steve on, and we're just paying him hourly. But, as you all have seen, he's a pretty sensible, level-headed guy, and he's a known quantity. And the switch horses, could, may be easy, may not be easy, we just don't know. We just really don't know.
Okay. All right, well, that's where we're at then. Okay, is there anything else that anyone wants to share or say about the MOU before we move on? Okay, so this next agenda item might be a little repetitive. So we'd kind of put this on here earlier. Just kind of thinking about the next steps, which is the next step is the meeting around the MOU. And I guess what I'm really hearing is that we'll just cross the next bridges as they come around the divisions of tasks. So I guess one of the things I would kind of bring up is there a way, or I would just kind of put this out here for everyone to think about, is there a way that we can, because this is kind of both involving the community housing board, but also it is the town board, right, that is going to be signing and, you know, authorizing these contracts. Is there a way that the next step after this MOU will be kind of beginning those important kind of internal conversations? You know, here's hoping, right, that we can get past this stage. That'd be in having those important conversations about like the order of the contracts that we're going to look at, right, and the content of them, and how can I want us to just really kind of put it out to the group of, is there a way that we can work effectively as both a town board and the community housing board to be working on these contracts and kind of together, so that there's that it's just I don't know, like it's always going to be challenging, but so that there's just like a clearer path between the two boards. And I know this isn't necessarily something that we've this isn't something that we've done before, so I want to acknowledge that there's no blueprint, but just to kind of think about, is there a way? I know Bill and I and Espen, you've graciously said that you would kind of join these calls with Miriam as we kind of get closer to you know, working on these kind of preliminary outlines of the contracts. How can we make sure that, just also in interest of time, because we're paying all these lawyers by the hour, right? That we're aligned before we're going to lawyers and just kind of like iterating. So I just kind of want to put that out to the group.
I would recommend adding 2 town board members to that group. So whoever is talking contracts will have 2 town board members and the 3 members from the housing board that you recommended.
Okay.
And so we'll all work on it together, and then we can inform our respective boards of what's happening and keep everybody up to date.
Okay, that sounds great. So would you imagine, I mean, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So
I was
1,
like-
2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that's
And I told you that you're going to be working on contracts.
so
Go back in your history, Ben.
yeah.
Just do whatever makes
Ben
sense.
and Meg, we've got some more phone calls for you, so I know you'll be pleased to know to have some afternoons filled. So you're welcome. So excellent. And then I guess the other thing is, you know, Bill had brought up that obviously we need to get to the other side of this MOU, but these are some pretty complicated contracts that we're going to begin working on. And I was thinking that if we do want to kind of get this done or move this forward in as timely a fashion as is plausible. Obviously we want to have solid documents and have them be well considered. But, you know, I think it might be worth it to kind of maybe put together like an initial call with 5-6 of us, with Miriam, to start thinking about the order of the contracts, and just maybe some initial thoughts, just to make sure that everybody's on the same page, and that Miriam doesn't just have the thoughts of us here on the community housing board, but also has what you guys are imagining on the town board. So I just wanted to put that out there and see how you guys felt about that.
I think that's a good idea.
What other idea, Liz, is, these are going to be complex contracts, and we got all the things in the future and how we're going to keep track of them and monitor them and do all that other stuff.
Yeah.
You have contacts with people in East Hampton and Southampton who have done not the same thing, but some analogous. It might be a good idea if a few of us could have a meeting with them to see what was the most difficult parts of the process. when they were going through their nascent initial, times of doing it. I mean, they've gotten into kind of their, their own routines, but it would be good to maybe have a sense of, hey, when you first did this, what were the real sticking points? What were the things you didn't consider that you wish you considered?
Lessons learned.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I did have, just because we keep each other just informed of what's going on, a conversation with Kate Casey over in East Hampton. And she did give me a couple recommendations on like construction contract lawyers just to have in our back pocket should we need them, that she recommended. So I did jot down those names. Should those, become useful folks for us to talk to. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be great. I know that East Hampton and Southampton are always happy to answer questions. I guess the one thing I would just say is I do feel like they are a little far along in their journey.
Yes, yeah.
So may not remember those beginning stages, but they definitely had, Espen, to your point, some lessons learned and, watch out for this or think about that.
Not only what the lawyers, God bless the lawyers, but not only what the lawyers are thinking, but what the people on the ground and the people who are making the decisions had to go through also. That's, I think that could be helpful.
Sure. Yeah.
CASA project. Didn't they just announce they're doing a?
Yeah, but I think we have better relations with East Hampton and Southampton. That's the only reason I said that.
And one
Yeah,
other-
I mean, I think we have. Oh, sorry, Espen. Please continue.
One other thought that comes up, and I'm still a little bit fresh here, but haven't heard much discussion about what is the town's involvement in administering all of this after the fact. That I haven't heard any discussions on it, but enforcement and
Monitoring.
all the long-term care that
I think you
something.
might get 5 different answers.
I think that's what we need to sit down and hash out, right? We need to sit down and go over the different contracts that we need to work on, the different expectations for each contract and the expectations moving forward and kind of identify who's in charge of what and what the expectation is for each party. So
And also the costs incurred, that's why having a beautiful like
long-term
development
planning,
brief,
yeah.
so that we understand
Yes.
exactly what the town is expenses are gonna be long-term
Right.
and where the funds come from and so on and so forth.
I mean, the way it's structured right now, the town is just a ground lessee. Ground lessor, sorry.
Mhm.
That's
Yep.
the role as of today.
Yeah, but we're gonna have to monitor.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna have.
I think it's also important to kind of consider in the monitoring. I think we had built in, and I don't have it right in front of me. I'm not at my desk, but having kind of reporting to us. But also, I think I think it's like that balance between making sure that there's monitoring and just being really honest about what our bandwidth is to be able to do that. I think it's striking that balance.
yeah, and also if things go pear-shaped.
Right. If things go sideways.
Yeah. Contingencies, absolutely,
Contingency plan.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
100%.
Oh, Mark will do it in his, spare time.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Our new housing director, is that what you're saying? Yeah.
You just volunteered, Mark.
This is how it happens, isn't it?
Yes. it
This
is.
is exactly how it happens.
Second.
So moved.
It is a little tricky because it is a public housing project, even though we're just a ground lessor. If it does go pear-shaped, we're gonna have egg on our face. So it's a fine line.
10
we're
units
gonna
to
have
manage.
walk here. So,
Mhm. No, there's absolutely. I mean, I think that that's one of the things that we found was also in looking for respondents. It's someone that had to have a robust enough organization to be able to actually really pull off the monitoring and the reporting requirements that are going to be needed. So, I know Okay, cool. Do we have anything else that we want to kind of say here? So I'm just like writing down for myself that my homework is to find time for the three of us from the Community Housing Board, Miriam, and Megan Ben, to have a conversation, kind of start having some initial conversations about maybe like the order of contracts or just some initial thoughts around contracts. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I know Steve Leventhal's schedule is tight, so would you imagine that he would be at that call, or would you think that would be, this is a question for Megan, Ben, would you be, does that seem okay if we just have that initial call with Miriam?
Yeah, that's fine.
Ben, does that?
Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay, yeah, let's give it a shot. I mean, if it may help us move things along, it may not. It seems a little early, and we haven't had the MOU call yet, so.
Well, I
After
was just
that, things will be a
thinking,
lot more clear.
oh, absolutely. I just am like understanding, like the last few weeks have really given me an understanding of how impacted everyone's schedule is and how difficult it is to kind of sometimes get stuff on the book. So I just wanted to kind of start the conversation now, even if that conversation isn't for several weeks.
That's fine.
Okay, excellent. Great. All right, moving on to the next one, which is the pro-housing resolution update. So I will turn that over to Megan Ben to give us an update there.
Right now, the members of the town board were putting their notes together, and then we were gonna have a meeting. We haven't had our meeting yet to kind of go over it. But when we do, we have some questions that we're gonna need to reach out to some people for answers. So that's kind of where we're sitting at the moment. So we don't have an answer.
Okay. Are you guys able to share any of the questions, or is that like just between you guys? Just curiosity.
No, I just don't have them all compiled yet. So I just don't have them to give you. But when we do, I will share.
I did just want to just like, I know for myself, there was some confusion. I know at one of the work sessions, we had kind of talked, at least I had heard, I had to rewatch it just to make sure that I had understood it correctly. Sorry, I dropped over here. But that I had thought that, there was, that you guys were going to potentially move forward with passing that on Monday. And then I just want to make sure my understanding is correct. But in between then, there were some other questions that came up. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes. So we're just gonna get some answers to the questions and then we'll move forward from there.
Okay.
One other kind of side note, not to pro-housing resolution itself, but an understanding that once the MOU is completed and that the town board off on it, we do not have to wait for all the contracts to be finalized to take a parallel path to seek, outside funding. That we can go for grants, or if we pass the pro-housing, some of the New York State money, we can go for other monies on a parallel path at the same time that we're working on the contracts, contingent upon all of the contracts being approved and accepted by the town board.
I actually think that might not be the case, but
you can start the applications for those things.
I think you have to be co-applicant, at least is my potentially imperfect understanding.
We could do it with their help. All right,
before
we'll
we've
do
had
this
any
offline.
contracts.
And we're a
Yeah.
co-applicant, because we're the manager. So
Yeah.
we'd be the primary applicant and we'd be a secondary applicant, which is kind of what puts them into the running.
Let's do this offline, because I have, yeah, a little different, yeah. And it's not important for you.
Yeah. Okay.
That process gets.
Bummer, but there we are. I don't have this on the agenda. Well, okay, I guess we'll be under new business. Did we have any old business that we wanted to talk through? No. I know Bran has a cool piece of new business to share with us. So Bran, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Awesome. Coco, can you bring up that East Hampton? Two pieces of news I shared with you guys, I think on email, East Hampton have happened recently. This is the first time home buyer down payment assistance program. They're taking their community housing fund monies and started a $600,000, they earmarked $600,000 for this year, for 2025, I believe. You can apply if you're a first-time home buyer. I got Coco to print out the guidelines and application form, just so you can see all the legal stuff that they've done that we can cop, right? The program is like $30,000. You have to have, there's income qualifications, there's wealth qualifications. It has to be your first home. It has to be year-round, year-round
Primary resident.
residence, yeah. All the stuff that we kind of are thinking about. So just to put it out there, maybe this is something we think about doing in the future. East Hampton has about $10 million in their community housing fund.
Amazing.
So we could put earmarking 600,000. That's 20 people, right? At 30K. We have 1 million, as we just learned, 1.2. Ratio would be 60K. Maybe we could do 2 people.
Yeah.
But, it would
Yeah,
be.
I think that this is really interesting. I think, we really have to be guided in our use of the fund by the housing plan. But I think that, we are rapidly coming up on revisiting the housing plan for the next 5 years. So, I think that this would be something really interesting to kind of introduce to the public of just like, is this something that we want to think about? Also, maybe we'll kind of see how it went for them and we'll have some
Sure.
notes from, but yeah, that's awesome. They're always doing such cool stuff over there. I love to.
The
copy their
other
homework.
thing, no, do you anybody have questions about this? Or?
Yeah, just a quick question. Do you know how this kind of program is looked at by the principal lender? Because
It's a lien.
No, it would be a gift.
No, it's a
yeah, but if it's a gift, it's not gonna count towards the equity portion of the loan to value ratio.
So
Well,
they
I
would
think-
have to pay it back?
Yes, on sale.
Oh, okay, I thought it was a gift.
Yeah,
No.
On the sale.
But if they own interest,
but if they're making an 80% loan and this is in play, this won't count towards the 20%.
Correct.
So I'm just wondering, is that how it's being looked at? I mean, that's.
I don't know if I understand the question, 20% of what?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, I think if
How
we
do the
get,
banks
if
look
we
at
get
it?
Oh, I have
I
no
guess
idea.
I would just say that I think if we get closer, like right now, we are not even able to consider this
Sure, but
because
at the
it's
end-
in our community housing plan. But if we get to that place in the next round,
Yeah,
I know they're awesome, and I know that they would answer any questions about how it's doing or like loan subordination or anything like that. They've got some really smart people over there, and I'm sure they'd be happy to answer your queries.
yeah. I mean, I think the application's pretty thorough in terms of what they're looking for, just who can apply. So I think it's all just kind of good things for us to look at. Other thing I sent you guys, maybe just yesterday, was news as well from East Hampton that Jane Mering, who has been running this thing called Build in Kind, and is a member of the zoning board over there, is planning to start a community housing trust.
So cool. So cool.
Yeah, I had sort of brought that idea back from that East End Housing Summit a month or two ago, because it's just been a topic of conversation that was like a way forward. So she's planning on doing that. I did talk to her yesterday about her plans, and she says she has about 3 to 6 months of just kind of behind the scenes organization and legal stuff to get it up and running. I think just something to keep a tab on. She's focusing on East Hampton for now.
I wonder if she'd be open to expanding.
Yeah, I mean, that's really literally the question I had for her. Like, I really think a regional approach might be good, but, I think she talked to people about that when she initially thought about this, and it's just kind of too complicated to get different towns and politics involved. But, we're all facing the same issue, so.
Well, and I think especially like as we see, the timelines involved in kind of, working on anything through the town, or, it can be a real challenge. So, seeing folks being able to take that up and, potentially like a private sphere, maybe might be able to be more.
This is a non-governmental organization that's going to own land, be given tax-deductible gifts, donations, and use it for the public to create housing. So that's the intent of the organization. But their plan is to partner with towns to help them create this kind of housing.
Well, that's so exciting that they're doing that. All the luck to them, and I hope that they're so wildly successful they'll consider.
Yeah, for sure.
Coming over on the ferry. Awesome. Thank you for bringing us these things.
Right. Wasn't there a Shelter Island not-for-profit?
There is still.
And it has
It's
some
not
money.
active.
I know, it's not active. Does it have any money in it?
About 30-something thousand.
Oh, okay.
What's it called?
At 25, yeah.
Shelter Island.
Shelter Island Housing Options.
Yeah.
And that was actually that was been dissolved and is rolled over into Shelter for All. So, or Shelter Island for All.
Could use all of that to part away. Oh, well.
Yeah. All right. I guess I would just turn it over, Julie, Karen, I see you guys here. Are there any questions before we wrap it up for the evening?
Just want to mention that Thursday's meeting, according to Steve Leventhal, needs to be an open meeting. And I think you get around the advertising by the fact that I can get this on the web tomorrow, so that people certainly have a week's notice at least before that next meeting. But the contract situation with 3 members from your board and 2 from the town board, that's no problem doing that as a subcommittee and a closed meeting at which you can, exchange ideas. So that's sort of an easy step, but I did want to mention that.
Thank you, Julie.
Okay.
Yeah. Meg or Ben, do you want to respond to the open meeting? I definitely think, my understanding was different, but
We're doing it as a closed legal meeting. It's not going to be full boards on the 21st. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well, that's what.
It's just subsections. Oh, sorry, Ben, I didn't mention it.
Subcommittees.
Okay, cool.
And to take legal advice.
Correct.
So.
We're gonna have 2 lawyers there. We're gonna have so much legal advice. Lots of legal advice.
That's the one at 3:00, right? That Coco sent out? Okay, so that'll just be you.
That'll be, yeah.
Perfect.
Phil and I are gonna have 4 lawyers.
Right.
Well, I'm no longer practicing.
Never mind.
I'm retired. Yeah, right.
All right, cool. Well, if that's everything, then does anybody feel like making a motion to wrap
Make
this
a
up?
motion, close the
Thank-
meeting
Sure.
All right,
at 8:01.
Seconded.
all right,
Aye.
excellent. In favor. All right, have a great evening, everybody. I'll see you guys next week. All right.
Work, Liz.
bye-bye.
Good luck down there.